Hear me, shades of the dead, and listen well. Your strength is needed now to join our fight.
Upon Olympus and in depths of hell. Yet we would ask your service to our cause. Together, let us rise above our flaws. So mote it be.
Why? Why on earth is this loser guy talking about optimal health recovery as if he just realized it was in the game? If this is what you're wondering, then you've wandered into a totally fair question. However, my intention here is to basically personify that domino meme that we all know and love, and point out how this mystical healing feature, which was added to Wilds, is essentially the starting domino piece, which conceptually led to all the other issues in the game, in my humble opinion. Issues that have begun to grow wings and take flight in the form of rampant negative Steam reviews. And although PC performance problems is a large part of it, and the devs probably should have brewed some hardware optimization in Hecate's Cauldron instead of the health potion, if you actually read the reviews or speak to enough Monster Hunter enjoyers, you'll find that the issue is a lot more broad. But before I get all philosophical, let's remind ourselves about that button. That single magic button. No thought, no hesitation, no real choice, no need to navigate the item bar, just press it and the game handles the rest. Most people likely didn't think much of it at first. It's just healing, right? It's convenient, it works, it keeps the action flowing. What's the problem? The problem is, I knew this would be a problem. Ever since we first saw this would be a problem when games media started getting playtime with alpha versions at trade shows and events, I knew this would have a high chance of snowballing into something much larger. And wait, I can hear it already. I got my Byakugan in my ears. But Charlie, you don't have to use it. You can still manually use regular potions or mega potions. Yes, correct. You don't have to use it. You also don't have to use ChatGPT instead of Google to find information, but it's far too optimal to not use. Which is why the stats of how many people use GPT instead of Google for even simple queries is growing. And it's growing by a lot. So let's not do the, but you don't have to use it argument. We all know you don't have to use it. I also hope we can become a bit smarter than this and can understand that this kind of critique is gloriously ineffective, especially with the direction I'll be going down in this video. You see, the more I play this game, which isn't often these days, the more I realize this one-button healing system might actually be one of the clearest signs of what's gone wrong in Monster Hunter Wilds. Not because it's broken or overpowered, but because of what it says about how the game is designed and where it's heading. So today, I want to break it down, not just the button, but the mindset behind it and what it might mean for the future of the series. Because I think optimal health recovery isn't just a small feature, it's a warning. Let's start with what we lost. In older Monster Hunter games, healing was a decision. You took a hit and you had to think. Do I use a basic potion now, or do I hold out and burn a mega potion later? A basic potion will recover maybe 30%, mega potion roughly 60%. Which one should I choose? Do I have time to heal, or will the monster punish me mid-animation? That moment, that hesitation, created tension. It made more moments matter. Now, you take a hit, you press one button. The game chooses the best item and you're back in the action before your brain even registers what happened, or which potion was used, or how many you even have remaining. It's smooth, it's clean, but it's also hollow. We lost something important here. We lost a layer of decision-making that made Monster Hunter what it was. A game about knowing your tools and picking the right time to use them. Optimal health recovery replaces that tension with efficiency. And for a series that's built its identity around careful planning and execution, that's not a quality of life update. That's a downgrade, which is where things get more concerning for me. This feature doesn't only speak to the gameplay, it speaks to a mindset, a design philosophy that's quietly reshaping the entire game perhaps even the entire franchise moving forward. If you take this heavy quality of life emphasis and analyze other areas of the game, you'll start to see a pattern. Whether it's sacred Uber rides, rare decorations not being rare anymore, less attack commitment thanks to focus mode, the list goes on. Anyone out there familiar with the 5 love languages? I know it seems like a random tangent, right? But bear with me. So the 5 love languages are words of affirmation, physical touch, giving gifts, quality time, and acts of service. I'd wager that Capcom's love language is likely that last one, acts of service, or perhaps giving gifts. But when Capcom gives us a one-button healing system, what are they really saying? What's the real message behind the gift? Are they simply showing love, so to speak? Showing appreciation that so many players are interested in their game? Or are they communicating something else entirely? To me, the gift of optimized health recovery is Capcom saying, we know our players. We know what they want. We know what they like. And we don't think players want to make these choices anymore. Which, if I'm correct on that little bit of mind reading, is a huge volcanic flag. And just like the love languages, sometimes you have to be aware of how the other person on the other end perceives the action. Too much gift giving can make the other person feel like they're being purchased. If I can just get them the right gift, then they'll really love me. But once that person realizes what's going on, or is made to feel like some kind of gift storage device, it's not going to end well. The connection dies, along with the trust, which is another key word. Capcom adding this kind of feature makes it feel like they aren't trusting players to handle the basics, to think for themselves, to grow through experience, to manually search through their item bar or radio wheel the same way you'd search through your hunting kit if you were really a hunter, doing hunter-type things. But instead, the game is starting to solve problems for us, assuming that we don't want friction or maybe can't handle it. That's not the Monster Hunter I recognize. That's a developer second-guessing its audience. And when that mindset starts creeping in, when the core philosophy shifts from teach the player to master the hunt to smooth the ride at all costs, the game starts to lose its edge. Now, you could argue Capcom was well aware of this outcome and decided to walk this path anyway, because this is the game they wanted to make. But I don't think that's the case. I think that they think they could have features like this and have players still be immersed in the same way that many were immersed with their previous 2 titles, World and Rise. And if my assumptions are correct, then yeah, that's just, man, what you doing? Another reason why I find all this to be an important thing to explore is because Monster Hunter isn't just a game. It's a fantasy. You're not a superhero. You're a hunter, a skilled, prepared, tactical survivalist. You are in these streets, licking the pavement with your tongue, gently placing your hand on the ground like some earth-bending sage. You look up into the sky and say, it's quiet. Too quiet. Before Pickle Joe or Bagel Juice dive bombs you from off camera, you learn monsters, you manage your gear, and you survive because you know how to use what you brought. But when the game says, don't worry about healing, we got it, something breaks. The fantasy gets interrupted. You're no longer playing as the smart, experienced hunter. You're just pushing a button while the game decides what's best. This is what I like to call delegating the fantasy. Every time the game automates a task you could have done yourself, whether it's healing, crafting, or tracking, it chips away at the role you're supposed to be playing. The more systems we offload to automation, the less we feel like we're surviving, and the more we feel like we're just along for the ride. Yes, Sacred, you heard me, you're part of the problem too. Admittedly, I am someone who values immersion quite highly, and things that kick me out of an immersive state irks me more than it irks the average person. But I think everyone out there can relate to a situation or can recall a time where they were on board with something, they were in the zone, and then something small or subtle just ruined the entire vibe, and they could no longer return to that zen state they were in before. So if you don't feel this with Wilds, that's fine, because we can probably still relate over the fact that you've likely felt something like this in the past, perhaps just in a different area. Now, some critique of what I'm saying will likely be on the topic of past versus future. This is what the game is now, buddy. Better get used to it. To which I'd say, you know what? Perhaps you're right. Because optimal health recovery kind of feels like a next episode teaser. The kind of small, seemingly harmless feature that quietly signals a major change in Monster Hunter's future. If Capcom thinks this is what players want, if they believe we'd rather push one button than think for ourselves, then what comes next? Auto-sharpening? auto-crafting mid-fight, auto-switching to the best elemental weapon. It sounds ridiculous, until you remember that 5 years ago, a button that automatically chose your healing item would have sounded ridiculous too. And the scariest part, at least for me, these changes probably won't hurt sales. If Monster Hunter Universe or Monster Hunter Galaxy comes out 4 years from now with these exact additions to the gameplay, it might still sell like crazy because there's so many people such as myself who have an attachment to the series, and one game blunder might not be enough for us to say no to the next game. Capcom basically have a goodwill buff, which is difficult to dispel, fortunately for them. Even with the recent and, quite frankly, deserved negative reviews on Steam, sales are still unlikely to be a concern going forward. But critically though, creatively, it matters, and it's not a good look. WoW's introducing these kinds of systems reminds me of my good friend Jonathan. Jonathan used to be a cool guy, but ever since that day, that one ominous day, he just changed. I tried talking to him, I tried understanding him, I tried letting him know how his actions are making the friend group feel, but it didn't work. He's not horrible, he's not terrible, he's just lost something that made him special and so interesting to be around. Speaking of interesting and not being the same, if you like this video, let's make sure the like button is not in the same state it was when you got here by clicking the click out of it. And let me know what you think about this optimal healing feature. Does it bother you the same way it bothers me? Do you see it as a precursor to future events like I do? Sound off in the comments. I always read them. You can also catch me on Twitch occasionally on twitch.tv/EarthbenderCharlie, where we discuss all kinds of things: video games, movies, music, stuff going on in the world, social issues, maybe even a bit of politics. Basically, my stream is all about having something playing in the background while we talk about anything and everything. So if you're into that kind of stuff, come on by. Anyway, thanks for watching. I'll see you guys later.